I had this experience with my wife. We fell into this pattern where I'd come home, we've been married for 20 years, and I would start complaining about my day, and I'd say like, my boss doesn't appreciate me, and my coworkers don't realize what a genius I am. And my wife...
I have that conversation
do you have
all the time.
All the time. I don't understand. Like, they seem like smart people. Why don't they recognize? And my wife would give me this really good advice. She'd say something like, why don't you take your boss out to lunch, and you guys can get to know each other better. And instead of being able to hear what she was saying, I would get upset. I would say like, why aren't you supporting me? You're supposed to be on my side. I imagine this is familiar to some of you, right? That like, usually it's a little reversed. Somebody brings up a problem and you try and solve the problem, and it turns out they're not asking you to solve the problem. And so because this happens so frequently, I was kind of interested. And so I went to these researchers and I asked them, like, why do smart people keep falling into this pattern? And they said, it's actually kind of interesting you showed up, because we are living through the golden age of understanding communication. Because of advances in neural imaging, because of advances in data collection, particularly neural data collection, we can basically see what's happening in people's brains as they're having conversations for the first time. And what we've discovered is this kind of breakdown, which is when you are having a good conversation with someone, when you feel connected to someone, it's reflected in your body and your brain. It's actually a product of your body and your brain. Without you being aware of it, your breath rate starts to match each other. Your heart rate starts to match each other. The dilation of your eyes, even if you're on Zoom and in different rooms, will start to match each other. And even more importantly, what's happening inside your brain, your neural activity, will become more and more similar. And within neuroscience, this is known as neural entrainment. And there's a guy named Uri Hassan at Princeton who's basically spent his whole career doing this. The more our brains become alike, the better we understand each other. We can literally hear each other more clearly as our brains become aligned. But what's interesting about this is that if I'm having an emotional conversation and I'm using the basal ganglia, the interior structure of my brain, or the amygdala, and you are having a practical conversation and you're using your prefrontal cortex, it is very hard for us to align our neural activity. So it's not so much when you have a great conversation that your body changes because of the conversation. The conversation is great because your body changes. And it turns out from an evolutionary perspective, this is the single most important thing in pro-sociality. When we can align our thinking, we can disagree with each other, we can vote for different people, we can think each other are idiots, but we will feel connected to each other in a way that we can actually have a relationship. And so that's what I became really interested in, is why is this so hard today? Why are we failing at this so much?